if you're going to talk trash about Jared Goff and how much money he's getting paid, and somehow align that, with his gameplay, well, you might want to take a look around the league, because there's a few other quarterbacks that are making a ton of money that are either hurt, right, not playing, or they're not hurt and they're getting throttled by the Saints, which is, a game that they shouldn't have. But I mean, come on, let's be real for just a moment. So I took a couple of snippets out of an article, and I'm going to break down why the media is partly to blame for all of this over dramatizing and SOL behavior and flat out misinformation that starts these negative narratives. Here's where I'm going to start. The Lions are 1-1 on the year. After falling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the offense has not really lived up to its lofty expectations in 2024. And at the center of the struggles is quarterback Jared Goff. Goff threw the ball a whopping 55 times against the Buccaneers, but it only amounted to 307 yards, only, an average of 5.6 yards per attempt. The majority of the passing attack was within the line of scrimmage, with a 50-yard bomb to Jameson Williams being the lone successful deep shot. That was snippet number one. Snippet number two. We saw that offense against the Buccaneers. Goff was inaccurate on the day and rarely targeted a receiver beyond 20 yards downfield. A poor combination for any passing offense. He had some inexplicably poor decision-making as well, which resulted in an interception and multiple near misses. Though he faced pressure at times, it was far from overwhelming. He looked rattled, plain and simple. He never found his rhythm as a passer, and it sunk the offense as a whole. That was snippet number two. Snippet number three. Goff was inaccurate on the day and rarely targeted a receiver beyond 20 yards downfield. And I wanted to drive that home because here's what I found. Number one, facts. Jared passes over 20 yards, 1/5 of that day's attempts. Remember, he threw the ball 55 times. So matter of fact, Jared threw 12 balls over 20 plus yards, which, by the way, 10 of those balls went to Jameson Williams. So 10 of the 12 balls were deeper shots to Jameson Williams. If you're calling a lone deep shot 150-yard completion, well, that's not very accurate. An explosive play is anything over 15 to 20 yards. And Jared threw 12 of those. I think that's fine. I think that's plenty good. You don't want to just constantly be chucking the ball downfield. Point number two, to say that Jared Goff was under pressure at times, basically stating that Jared had all the time in the world to throw the ball, is also false. Jared, again, according to Next Gen Stats, had 2.68 seconds of time to throw on average, which ranked, by the way, 25th in the league for week 2. So that means that there's only 7 other quarterbacks that had a worse time to throw than Jared Goff. And that means that there's 24 quarterbacks that had less time to throw than Jared Goff. And Kyler Murray was one of those at 3.1 seconds. He had a full half a second to get rid of the ball. That is eternity in the NFL. Let's go on to the next point. The Lions clearly favored their matchup in the passing game more than the running game, but Goff was simply not good enough on his 55 passing attempts. Okay. Here's my response. I would put some blame on the receivers not looking for the ball, not bailing out Goff under pressure, not working back to Goff and making a play happen. Far too often, Goff was under pressure and did not have a receiver open or even looking. Point number 2, I would also put some of this blame on Ben Johnson. The play calling was just not good enough. He didn't mix up the plays. He didn't create anything that was unique. It was vanilla the entire game. Number 3, another snippet. Goff had some inexplicably poor decision-making, which resulted in an interception and multiple near misses. Here's my response. The first interception was illegal contact, holding, and pass interference all at the same time. And that was against Jameson Williams, who was the targeted receiver on that play. So I would say that wasn't Jared Goff's fault. Now, the second interception, we just don't know enough. But I'll go ahead and put 100% of the blame on Jared Goff for that one interception that he probably could have pulled back. That ball clearly landed, in the middle of 4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers defenders. Shouldn't have been thrown there. But Jared Goff doesn't typically make mistakes like that. So what I would say, and what I would argue here, is did the receiver run the right route? Was Jared Goff expecting something different to happen on that play? Because he just doesn't make mistakes like this. So I'm 50-50 on this one. But the multiple near misses for interceptions, I think you have to go back and look at the tape, which we did on Tuesday night. And what you see Jared Goff trying to get rid of the ball, trying to throw it away towards the receiver so that he doesn't get intentional grounding because he is under pressure and he's still in the pocket. So you either have to throw it out of bounds, but you still have to throw it at a receiver, an eligible receiver, so you don't take a penalty. That's Goff protecting the football, right? He's protecting the integrity of the line of scrimmage. He doesn't want to back the guys up any further than they already are because it was a dogfight. Here's another one, another snippet. Though he faced pressure at times, again, at times, I think we've already discussed that part of it, it was far from overwhelming. Really? 2.68 seconds? That's not overwhelming? He looked rattled, plain and simple. I didn't see Jared Goff rattled. Not once. He had the third most quarterback pressures of all quarterbacks in the league with 18 in week 2. But yet he was pressured at times, and it was not overwhelming, right? But yet you have the third most quarterback pressures of the week. When the Lions had, 18 plus pressures, or 15, I think, in that game, they also had 5 sacks or 5.5 sacks, whatever it was on the day. So pressures don't always mean that you're not under pressure, or the pressure number doesn't always mean that you're not under pressure. But clearly, Jared Goff was under pressure the third most in the league that day. Only Will Levis and Caleb Williams had more. It's kind of tough to get the ball downfield more often when you are under pressure. And take a look at what happened to Caleb Williams. He was sacked 7 times on the day. But Jared Goff took 0 sacks on the day, as he was the smarter quarterback with the football in his hand for most of the day. Another point, he never found his rhythm as a passer, and it sunk the offense as a whole. Never found his rhythm. I just kind of started shaking my head here. I would say that the Lions moved the ball pretty damn well. They moved into the red zone 7 times, which is one more time than all of last season, where the Lions, their most times that they made it to the red zone was 6 times in a game. And they did that multiple times last year. That's not finding a rhythm, being able to move the ball 20 to 20 pretty easily, because they did that. I would, again, be more concerned that the play calling was a bit suspect here when we got into the red zone. And more of the issue in the red zone than Jared Goff not being a good quarterback, and the other factors like the offensive line not able to open running lanes and take the pressure off the passing attack because we couldn't run the ball with any consistency on the day. And when the D-line can sit back, right, pin its ears back and fly, it's pretty easy to win in the red zone, which everybody understands is a very short area to play in. The DBs can creep up. You can fly to the flats, which they were. They were buzzing, just like Dan Campbell said, to the flats all day. They took all of that away from us. Our offensive line was having struggles this day against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were not able to give Jared Goff enough time, and our receivers were not getting open. I think that's probably where I'll end it. But the last snippet was Goff's success in 2023 was a key reason why Detroit went on its deep playoff run. But through 2 games, he has more interceptions, 3, than touchdowns, 1, and does not look like the player who earned himself a $212 million contract extension this offseason. I think I addressed this before I started running into this little segment here. The money that Jared Goff is making has nothing to do with his play on the field. We are literally 2 games into the season, and he's not even making that money yet. He's still making what he was supposed to make this year. He got an extension, not a new contract. He won't even make $50 million until year 3 of this deal. Goff is doing fine with what he has. We don't know the extenuating circumstances with Sam Laporta and his hamstring. Is it still bothering him? But the fact that he's not showing up in games is a problem. The fact that the offensive line has not been able to play with consistency so far, and they're allowing more pressures and less time to throw than they ever had all of 2023, that's a problem. The last games, the games in 2023 that we are having issues in, you could point it right at the Baltimore Ravens game. That's kind of what Jared Goff has been dealing with for the first 2 games of the season. And might I add this last point. We just played 5 playoff games in a row. The LA Rams in week 1, the Tampa Bay Bucks in week 2. What more can you ask for going 1-1? I think that's a pretty damn good start to the season. I am not going to throw Goff under the bus and say that this is his fault and that it's all on him. There is way more going on here than what meets the eye.